If you've ever been super excited for a rainstorm to roll through your area so that you can enjoy it, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Live Trading. I am your host, Ryan Faloona. We got a lot to do today, so we're just going to get right into it.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
All right, everybody. Hello and welcome and happy Thursday. Hope you all are having a wonderful morning. I know I'm the weirdo that really likes rainstorms, but it is what it is. It makes me happy. That's what we got rolling in here to Chicago. It should be short-lived. We'll see what we can do. But we have a market to attack. We've got the Fed is out of the way. We had the CPI yesterday. We have the PPI today. Let's bring on the panel to break it down. First, it's going to be Andy back from Mighty Soldiers Trades. Andy, how's that 65 EMA treating you?
65 EMAs treat me well, Ryan. It's GME that's not treating me so well, but we'll talk about that soon.
Okay, I can't wait to get a GME update. Kudos to you for doing the whole diamond hands thing. We'll see how that ended up working out. Of course, we're going to bring in News by Nick Brown. Nick, how are you doing here today, my man?
Good morning. It's Thursday. This week is rather going quickly. I slept in this morning.
I thought the same thing. I thought the week was really going.
So I've been struggling this morning, getting moving.
Okay, I actually left my tea in the other room, so I'm going to have to go and get that here in a sec. What did you think of the PPI? Or we'll just cover that here in a little bit. I'll tell you what, we'll cover that here in a little bit. We'll get all of your thoughts on the PPI and what's going on and where the market goes from here. First thing that we should do, of course, is take a look at the SPY. First of all, one of the things that you'll notice here, I actually drew, and let me hide the drawings. We'll talk about the drawing here in a sec. Anyway, SPY here, we popped out of that sideways range yesterday. We talked about that a little bit when it was actually going on. Now we're kind of trading a little bit more sideways, I suppose. We're really kind of holding those gains. You can see this was from the PPI here today. Got that print, popped up to 544, pretty much came back down to balance, but we'll see where we go from here. That's really what's going to be important, is how the market trades when the market's actually open, not necessarily this initial pop. We'll see. Yesterday, we pretty much had the run out of the gate, pretty much put the highs in for the day. I know we had a little bit of a trade up towards the end of the day, but that really kind of came back into balance. So I think the market now is deciding which way it's going to go from here. Your guess is as good as mine. I want to get all of your opinions on that. Now, before we go into the PPI, let me show you one of the things that I was doing here. We were looking for potential SPY targets, right? If the market continues to trade up, where is this market likely going to go? One of the things that I used here just to kind of get an idea of some potential levels is going to be the Fibonacci extension tool. And the way that I drew this, I took kind of a longer term approach for it. I actually drew it from the COVID low to the top of that bounce and then the regressive move right here. Now I drew it all the way out to the side so I could overlay the colored chart on the actual price. That's just how I do things. But the point that I'm using for the extension here is going to be the bottom of this retracement after that COVID move. Now, what that does is that gives us a next spot here of, it might be very difficult for you to see. I apologize for that. That's 554.80. You want to call that 555? Okay, that might be our next target up here on the SPY. If we get to any of those, we'll reassess. You can see there are some targets above, but we'll wait to cross that bridge until we get there. So this is one of the things that I'm kind of looking at. I'd be curious to know if any of you folks have any other upside targets on the SPY. The downside targets on the SPY here today are going to be ones that have to do with moving averages, former levels, gap areas, et cetera, et cetera. So those are going to be fairly easy to see as we're actually doing this. So that's what's going on here with the SPY. I'm curious to hear your folks' levels, but I do want to go to Nick. Nick, let's talk about the PPI print this morning. Why don't you go ahead and break it down for us?
Yeah, so it was another disinflation again. PPI for month over month actually came in negative, down 0.2%. We were actually expecting 0.1%. Year over year came in at 2.2%, expecting 2.5. So again, below expectations. PPI core month over month actually came in at 0, expecting up 0.3, and year over year for PPI core came in at 2.3%, expecting 2.4%. So once again, below expectations. And I was watching pre-market prep when this happened, and you could see a tick up in futures and in the market once again. Jay Powell talked about this yesterday, basically saying, and we're probably going to get into this, Ryan, so I don't want to get ahead of myself, but he was kind of going over the data points and basically saying, hey, PPI should be what CPI says and how they look at the markets and how they revise the dot plots. And so that's what's actually happened. So we are in this print here where we are seeing inflation slowing, coming down, not beating expectations, and we're getting these revised calls about if they're going to cut. And I know we can have that debate and talk a little bit more about the Fed later, but this is another print, second print in a row this week that's confirming inflation is coming down and it is actually disinflation, and we are moving lower that to what the Fed wants to see.
I think we actually had comments recently that the 2% Fed target is likely out of reach and is going to be out of reach. So it'll be interesting to see if they say that. One of the things that Powell said yesterday, he really kind of committed to being data dependent. We actually had a joke within the happy hour crew. We wonder if he uses the data dependent line on his wife. I'm guessing no, since he's still married. But anyway, he seems to say that a lot. So seems he's still going to be data dependent. Definitely a good CPI print, definitely a confirmation PPI print here. I still don't think we're out of the woods. You mentioned the dot plot. I remember when we started the year, there were forecasts for 7 cuts this year. How did that end up going?
One.
And we're down to 1. And I'll just go out on a limb. My personal opinion is that we still get 0. I'm in the camp that we get 0. I know they're saying they're forecasting 1. It started at 7. They're at 1 now. I'm going to go ahead and stick with 0. That's the call that I made. So we'll see. But in any case, definitely good. Well, I want to see how the market actually reacts today. Because like I said, we took that little leg up yesterday after the print out of the open. And we really, I mean, you guys let me know what you think, but I've sure felt like this was not as volatile as a Fed meeting as we've seen recently. At least the price of the SPY here didn't really seem all that volatile. It did go back and forth, but it wasn't these huge swings like we've seen before. So we'll see what the next move is here for the SPY. Okay, you got anything on this, Andy, that you want to cover? Should we just move over to the gappers?
I mean, we can move over to the gappers, Ryan, but for me personally, even though this looks incredibly bullish, I still believe that there's a chance that we're going to either get that volatility you're talking about, or else we will trade sideways and slowly pull down before we get to see the next move.
Yeah, and look, what I would be rooting for, if I guess is the right way to say that, I'm looking for a down move. I want this market to trade in. I want to correct. I want quality companies and stocks to be cheaper so that we can buy them and hold them for an extended period and make some capital gains on that. So I'm with you on that. I'd like to see that, but I mean, I'm not just going to fight the trend. That is a good way to go broke, and that's not what we are here to do. Jonathan saying, Ryan, how fast can the labor and growth story change? I feel like that can change pretty quickly. I mean, even with as far as the jobs go, we had Powell saying yesterday that the job, I can't find the exact quote, Nick, maybe you know, but he said, there was basically the jobs number that was, or the numbers that are being printed were exaggerated a little bit. I have to actually find that quote. I don't know where I saved it. I saved it somewhere and I can't find it in the news feed right now. But when I turn it over to one of you folks, I'll take a look at it. We've had consistent revisements to some of those unemployment numbers. So, I mean, that story can change really quickly, Jonathan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and react to it. I'm not going to make a prediction on it. I'm not going to try to put myself in a position where I'm off sides on the other end of it. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about some of the stocks here. Jay, you know what? We will start with one of the bigger stocks here. I think this is a really good idea. Before we move over to the gappers here, Jay's mentioning AVGO. This is Broadcom, which reported earnings yesterday, and Broadcom. This just an absolutely huge move. We're actually watching this live in happy hour last night. Wild move here in Broadcom, still holding up 13.4%. They reported earnings that the earnings were better than expected. Q2 financial results, issued strong revenue guidance, and announced a 10-for-1 stock split. the stock splits have really kind of been driving some of these stocks. That stock split is going to be what, July? It's effective July. What was that?
July 15th.
Thank you, Nick. July 15th. So we'll see if this continues to actually trade up into that. But Avago, this is a huge move. Grats to anyone that was long calls on this. Yeah, I mean, this is probably the big winner yesterday. JR, I can't remember if this is one that you hold or not. Regardless, let me know if this is something that you're looking to trade or how you would trade going into that split. You think we trade up into that split? The other question that Jay had here is SMCI next. That's actually a pretty good question. One of the things that we were taking a look at, or one of the things that we had noticed here with SMCI, really seemed like it run too far, too fast. But maybe this is a candidate for a split here. I don't have any position for that, but I could absolutely see that. I mean, short of like a really kind of a steep pullback in the near term here, yeah, I could see SMCI splitting. Don't know if it's going to do that. We'll see how some of these other splits perform first. Would like to know what you think there, Jay, or anyone else really that kind of looks at some of these things. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the gappers. Let's prepare for the market here, and then we'll talk. Oh, look at this, GME. It's almost foreshadowing what Andy wants to talk about. We'll get to that here in just a sec. As far as gappers here for today, I got a couple that were left over from yesterday. First one here is going to be RBOT. I believe this is doing a reverse split. Yes, it is. So this is reverse split as of today. In fact, let me go to the calendar. Splits. Yes. So as of today, this did a 1 for 30 reverse split. This is RBOT. Someone mentioned this yesterday in the happy hour. We've been talking about some of these stocks that do reverse splits are catalysts or have been moving. That seems, or we have a split here. So we'll see if RBOT is one of those stocks that moves here today. Just wanted to throw it on your radar. Was 30 cents yesterday, 8.70 today after that split. Keep that in mind. As far as PRs and gappers here today, first one's going to be BRTX. This is Biorestorative Therapies. Biorestorative Therapy shares are trading higher after the company announced that it had engaged in advanced discussions for a thermostem license with a regenerative medicine firm. So that sounds pretty good. I will say here that the price action, even better than the PR. Love to see that impulse move. The regressive move gets bought up. Higher volume on the second move up. So here's that impulse move. That regressive move takes us back beneath the VWAP. Even higher volume on the move higher. We take out the VWAP. We take out the previous high. We regress back to the VWAP. And now again, we're getting another even higher volume pop, BRTX. I definitely want to see how this one trades. I will wait a little bit out of the open here because there's some of these stocks really kind of put their highs in early. We'll wait and see if this one gives us a pretty good setup. So far, good pre-market action here, BRTX. Next gapper I have here is going to be Longeveron, and this one should be no stranger to this group. We have traded Longeveron a number of times off the scanner. There's been a number of different PRs that has caused this stock to move. I believe that this had a huge move back in 2022. Obviously, we've been in a downtrend since then, but we are popping here. Then the news was from last night here. We had Zacks, okay? Longeveron shares are trading higher as traders circulate a Zacks small cap research report on the company with a $15.10 price valuation. So it looks like we're getting a Zacks target here of $15. Longeveron currently just under $250. That is driving that here today. I would imagine that this is going to be in play. We actually had some trades after the show ended yesterday on this. I think it is still in play here today. So we'll see here on Longeveron. Okay. One of the other big pieces of news here today is going to be Tesla, and that's going to be the Elon Musk pay package. Tesla shares are trading higher after CEO Elon Musk said the company's shareholder resolutions are passing with a significant margin. We knew yesterday retail was going to pass this. It wasn't even close. And then again, when they went to some of the institutions today, that lead continued to grow. No question here, he's going to get paid. You can have the debate on whether or not this is going to affect the stock going forward. The reality is this is really simple. Trading Tesla, investing in Tesla, you're investing in the man. End of story. He leaves. This is a car company. This stock's going down. That's the way that I would look at that. So I think that it's probably good that pay package was passed. We'll see how this plays out. Given the huge move here in Tesla, stocks up 7% here in the pre-market. That's actually put some of the Tesla ETFs. So we have the levered ETFs here gapping up pretty significantly. These are obviously the 2X. They're up twice as much as the 7% here. That's why they're on the gappers list. Might be a little bit easier for you to trade if you don't want to trade the equity itself. Lynn and Randy, I can't wait to hear how you folks are setting up for Tesla here today. Nick, did you have anything else on Tesla that you wanted to cover?
Yeah, it was interesting that he tweeted this last night that both Tesla shareholders, so the Elon comp, and then of course the Texas, the moving to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also interesting, guys, that it seems that the major institutions, the individual investors, are the ones that are passing this, not the actual companies. So we've heard ISS, different groups that have backed him. It seems like it's the individual investor that is supportive. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of the shareholder meeting today. And it's also interesting that they want to move to Texas. So we'll see how all that goes. Dan Ives today actually says in a note, quote, "This removes a $20 to $25 overhang on the stock, in our opinion, that has weighted on shares since the head-scratching Delaware ruling set this Twilight Zone soap opera on earlier this year. Again, they still maintain their outperform 275 price target, but it seems that this is moving higher." I was actually wrong when I said that I don't think this would pass, because I was just incorporating the major research firms and major firms instead of incorporating the institutional and individual investors. Of course, they're going to back him, maybe not the major research firms.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here with Tesla. So far, so good. 190 handled today. Again, up 7%. We'll see if it's used all of its juice here this morning. But Tesla looking really good. That's why this is moving. Okay, real quick here. I did just want to cover, I think, two more of these. Next one here is going to be Vanny. This is another one that we've been familiar with. Vivani Medical shares are trading higher after the company announced the FDA cleared the investigational new drug application and lifted the clinical hold on one of its drugs here. That's popped at as high as 210. The regressive moved right back down to 180. We've traded a lot of these biotechs recently. So again, one of the things we want to make sure that we have a really good technical setup here. Not sure how great this news actually is post that initial move, but sometimes that's all it takes for these stocks to kind of get set off and set up for a particular trade. Next here is going to be BitF. This is Bitfarms. I actually wanted to really quickly take a look at Bitcoin here today. We did pop up towards 69K. I think that was at the same time as the PPI print. Let me see if I can get a time on my chart. Yes, I believe that it was. So we'll see if Bitcoin gets involved here today. Bitfarms, this is one that is trading up on it. Maybe take a look at this if you want to trade any of the Bitcoin names. Okay, Andy, I am going to flip back over to GME. Why don't you tell me, first of all, what's going on here with GME and your position? Where are we at?
So yesterday, Ryan, I was in profit in GME, and basically just at the moment when I could even process the fact that I was in profit in GME, that thing just started heading downwards and just continued to pull back right below my number. It's now hugging the 65 on the 5-minute. The 65 has dropped below the 200, which is never a good sign, and we have the VWAP way up there now. So I mean, I'm not really feeling hopeful. I did the diamond hands thing. I had to stick to my guns because I said that I would. I just felt like it was the right thing to do to lose some money on this. And maybe it'll turn around, maybe it won't. But I mean, I don't feel that great about doing any trades that are outside of my initial risk.
Okay, I'll say this, Andy. I hope that this turns around on you. Let's have Roaring Kitty post a draw for and a reverse card today. Really throw everyone into a tizzy and have your GME position double so you can ring that register. I'll be ready with the soundboard just in case that happens. I don't want to see anybody from this community losing money. But again, if any of you are going to trade GME today, I'm sure we'll check in on that. Can't wait to hear how you folks are actually doing with that. Okay. Let's go ahead now and take a tickers here from the chat. One thing I do want to mention before we go ahead and do that, the stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool. So if you need help either getting above the day trading threshold, or if you simply need more dry powder to try and execute your strategy, be sure to check out Trade the Pool. They're great. They're available. They're also available early in the morning, as I found out, which is extremely helpful when you're preparing for the market day. So be sure to check them out. They're awesome. And see if they can help you with your trading. So shout out, Trade the Pool. Okay, what tickers do you folks want to take a look at here this morning? What tickers? Anthony, that was the first ticker I saw there was American Airlines. We'll take a look at that. Dennis, I saw that you had posted FFIE as well. We'll take a look at that one here. So American Airlines really not doing much of anything right here. I didn't see any news here today. Did I miss something? Nope. Not a whole lot of news flow going on with American Airlines. Chart kind of looks pretty crummy. We don't have our airline industry experts in here this morning. At least I haven't seen them yet. I'll see if Lynn and Randy show up, we'll ask for an opinion on this. To me, chart actually looks like it's at a pretty decent level to play alongside trade here, right? We've got the RSI that's almost at oversold territory. We're really kind of back down to this base that we formed after we had dropped here. This is back in 2020, and we kind of just formed this base here. We traded up a little bit, but we really kind of came back in here. My big problem with this, at least for today, I'm not sure what the actual catalyst is to drive this higher here today. However, the spot, not terrible, right? Definitely seem to be at a support level. If we are able to reverse and maybe get some upside momentum here through 12, perhaps we can close this gap up to 13.5. So there's a setup on here. I just don't know yet that that it's ready to go here. Tony D says AAL bottom feeding. I would agree with that, Tony. I think that's exactly what you'd be doing here in a particular trade. If you like American Airlines, if you think that this is going to trade up here, the spot that it's at right now isn't terrible. Maybe you want to put a stop beneath this and kind of take a stab at it here. I'm not a huge fan of the airlines. They've really been tough to trade. But if you want to, here you go. Lynn and Randy giving you their opinion here. Forget airlines. They'll give you turbulence in your life. That was a Randy comment. I can tell. Alexa, good to see you again. Tons of cancellations on American Airlines on key routes. That'll do it. That'll continue to drive the price lower. So one of the things I'd like to follow up with here real quick, who was this? Anthony, is there anything that you like here? Anything that you're worried about here? Let me know if there's anything on your end that we should address here. Really quickly, let's take a look at FFIE. I'm running out of time, right? Got a little under 2 minutes here. FFIE, I'm going to go to an intraday chart because this thing is just a penny stock. To me, this type of trade, this is all about momentum. If the momentum's on your side, great, trade it, make some money to the upside. I don't care if it's junk, I don't care if it's a crappy company, whatever, this, that, and the other thing. However, when you're on the backside of that move, be careful. What's driving this higher here? What's the catalyst to drive this higher here? I don't really see anything. I really kind of think the company's junky. Volume looks low. We'll see if it gets rolling here. One of the things we've seen from these penny stocks is they can kind of get lit, if you will, in random ways. If that happens with FFIE, at least we know how this thing has traded in the past and how it can trade again. So I don't really see an entry here today, but we've seen this thing move with the quickness in the past. Okay. Jennifer B, another comment here. American Airlines flight attendants are picketing nationwide. They're waiting to be released today to strike. Okay, Jennifer, I can't confirm this, but that's interesting. What I will say here is that if we get headlines out on American Airlines, you can expect the stock price to react to that. This is pretty good preparation here. Nick, are you aware of anything on American Airlines?
No, but I can always double check and confirm.
Amazing. And if you hear any news flow while we're on today, feel free to interrupt and get out there, because not like we're talking about here, that actually might affect the price of the stock. So we'll see. Okay. Looks like we're getting ready to open here. Let me go ahead and bring up Trade the Pool. Of course, got to fix all of this really quick right there. All right. Let me flip over to my scanner. We are open, folks. Good luck. Let's see how we do here today. Let's take a look at BRTX to start. Nick and Andy, if you guys have any stock you want me to bring in focus here, just shout it out. I'd be happy to bring it up.
Just looking at the fact that NVIDIA is kind of rocking and Tesla's pulling back, and Tesla has that potential for the gap fill. And I know a lot of people are positive and they're talking about going long Tesla, but I'm looking for that potential gap fill.
Okay, let me give you some numbers on that gap fill. A snap of 185.50 to the downside. You enter the gap. That gap doesn't fill till 175, I think that says. 178. I beg your pardon. 178. So $5 gap move there. We'll see if that ends up happening. Really good call there. Really good call there. Okay. Yeah, we got a bunch of flights. So Jennifer, current flight attendant, love it. Lynn and Randy here, retired United Airlines flight attendants. We got all types of airline experts in the community. That's what I want to see, folks. That's what I want to see. All right, here. Tesla, nothing yet in terms of a setup. Stop me if you've heard this before, but Apple higher right out of the open here to 115. What a beast of a stock Apple has been. How are you folks doing with some of the smaller movers? BRTX looks like we're kind of holding in there. I'd like to see this come back to the VWAP, to be quite honest with you. That'd be good for a new potential trade here.
Well, unfortunately, Ryan, I decided to just buy BRTX right here at the top and see what happens today.
LGVN, this getting ready maybe to move through its VWAP here, 250. Can I get it? I couldn't get it fast enough. Couldn't get my orders situated fast enough. We'll see if this ends up pushing through the VWAP. Looks like it's pulling back here a little bit. Here, Andy, while this sets up, let me go to that RTX. Sorry, I kind of want to take this right here. I'm gonna try some here. Oh, tell me that did I not get filled? I'm sitting on there. Let's see if I get filled here. Real quick, Andy, if this let me see if I can get filled. If not, I'll go ahead and flip over to RTX here. Looks like LGVN is going through that VWAP here. Might be leaving me behind. I was a little too slow on that. We'll come back to LGVN. Won't be done here today. RTX, I'm sorry for the delay here. RTX was what you took?
Oh, no, sorry. BRTX, Ryan.
BRTX. Okay.
Go ahead. Well, I just wanted to say that AMD is ripping out of the gate here, so that's something to pay attention to. I don't believe it's going to hold, but hey, that's my belief. What does that matter?
Fairchild saying, I've jumped out of a bunch of airplanes. Fairchild, yeah, I hope that's a military thing. Generally speaking, I'm not in agreement that there's a good reason to jump out of a perfectly good airplane, but that's just me. Love you though. Iren, oh, that's right. Smoke Tuna, you told us this runs every day. I didn't have it on my list. Shame on me. Shame on me. Smoke Tuna, appreciate you sharing this with the group, though. So your contention here is that this runs every day out of the open? Maybe it's what we did yesterday. It's what we did the day before. And the day before, Smoke Tuna, you might be onto something. This is a pretty vertical move right out of the open here. You told us about that yesterday. I didn't even remember or take it. Shame on me, Smoke Tuna. Really good call, though. That's running here. Let us know what you do with that position. EJH saw this one here on the scanner. Penny stock going for dollar territory, and this thing is ripping here. 65 cents to 95 cents right off the open. See how Avago is doing. It's kind of holding in here. Looks like those highs were set in the pre-market, at least so far. Watch for a dip and rip on this one.
Tesla's
about to run. Sorry, Andy.
Looks like Tesla's right at support right here. If we can find some support at this, the pullback in this consolidation.
Yeah, here you go. So if we look at the bottom of the pre-market area, we are approaching that pretty quickly. Stock is pulling back. Let's see if we can recapture that VWAP. We saw this. Was this yesterday or the day before? We saw this kind of dip a little bit, and as soon as those buyers stepped in, we went higher. It might have been the day before where that was really apparent. Yeah, this one didn't really rip higher, but this is kind of what we're looking for, right? When this selling volume turns to buying volume, should be a trade off the bottom there.
Now I have NVIDIA and Tesla pulling back sharply, but Apple and AMD are still pushing.
Okay, Wolf, this is popping here. Nice mention from the chat here. Vanny, that was one that we covered on the list here this morning. Smoke tuna right through the VWAP and higher. Great stuff there. Let's see what happens at 2. Former
Ticker
member of the
WSM,
St. Michael
Ryan.
Airborne Association. I'm not even sure what that is, but awesome. Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
Ryan, ticker WSM, Williams-Sonoma has announced that they are announcing a 2-for-1 stock split that's expected to commence on a split-adjusted basis at the market open on July 9th of this year.
Okay, so it seems like we're getting news about a lot of these bigger companies doing stock splits.
Yes.
Okay.
It seems that stock splits, when you split your shares, historically do well, according to some research.
Yeah, and you know what? The thing that we've seen, Nick, is that after they announced the split, a lot of these stocks seem to trade up into that split date. So it's actually giving you a short-term opportunity there as well. Good mention on WSM. I actually hadn't seen that. Vanny here, we're almost up towards those pre-market highs. Watch this one. Chase, talking about Chewy here, that is popping out of the gate. By the way, I'm down to the last tranche of that position. I sold more yesterday. Actually did a really good job trading this one, which is surprising because I've messed up a lot of these trades recently. But booked every tranche at gains. One of them was over 100%, so that's really sweet. I'm hoping that this trailing piece that I'm leaving on can really run. Even if the trailing piece that I have on goes to 0, I still have profit in this trade. We lost Andy. Hopefully everything's all right. Rumor says Meta is also thinking about splitting. I didn't see that rumor. Did you come across that here this morning, Nick?
No, but I do know that there's a report out this morning that Meta is cutting jobs.
Okay. Let me go ahead and flip to some of these different tickers here. BRTX, this came back into the VWAP and bounced. Wasn't a huge bounce there, but it is bouncing nonetheless. Apple pushing up away from its VWAP. Let me get my scanner up here on my other. Boop. All right, let me roll through some names right off the scanner, see if we see a setup. EJH right at the highs. That did not take out $1, but that's something that still could be on deck here for today. This BRTX move, great bounce. I would actually trim into this move here. We're right at those pre-market highs right now. Trim and maybe leave a trailer on in case we bust above right here. We'll watch it right here. Size at 215 and 220. 215 gone.
Apple has officially overtaken Microsoft once again in market cap. Seems like this is going to be an everyday thing. Apple once again is higher, so is Microsoft.
The 3 trillion race, right? The 3 trillion race in there. Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia.
And Dan Ives thinks we could be on the way to 4 trillion shortly.
Why not 6 trillion? Sorry.
If you don't mind, Ryan, everybody, I know you guys are here for live trading, but I know that a lot of you also want to get better at your trading. I was able to give away some shirts here thanks to you guys allowing me to, and some Roman coins to several of you already. And today, if you want to better your trading by one of my mentors, I've read many of his books. Stick around.
Okay, nice little tease is what we call that here in the business. Nice little tease. Riot here. So we talked a little bit about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, since the pre-market there, has traded up towards the highs of the PPI spike. Riot clearly following that. The other one that we had here, I think it was, let me see if I can remember that ticker. It was Bitfarms, right? That's BITF, I believe. Bitfarms, BITF. That, oh my God, what on earth is going on with this thing? There, BITF. It's, for heaven's sakes, that is also pushing here out of the gate. Let's take a look at Mara. So Mara, Riot, Bitfarms, all doing great here today. along with this Bitcoin move. We're trading up towards that 69. Look for another test here. I like to read. Book sales are up. Okay. Well, you know what? I actually know what book Andy's referring to. Wink, wink. This is a good one. I'm wondering if you've read it already, to be quite honest with you. We shall see. All right. What do you folks got in terms of setups?
Well, Ryan, I have read it already, and I will read it again. I love these books. So
Okay. Good endorsement right there. Wolf, some resistance right here near that 420 area. Where's Wisdom? There's Wisdom. Wisdom's looking at LGVN. See if LGVN can curl here and maybe go through that VWAP. It's actually not a bad setup here if it can hold this area. LGVN looking a little weak here. What else, you folks? Avago continuing to push into that split. Not terribly surprised about that.
Nvidia's right back up at the highs, it looks like.
IREN ran its full point. Nvidia, we'll check on that here. Nvidia reclaimed the VWAP and is trying to go higher. How's SMCI doing? SMCI also trying to do the same thing here. Looks to be a little bit behind. It's trying to get over the VWAP right now. RNA, you guys are giving me a couple more tickers. Let's look through these here. RNA, this had a good move yesterday. Actually looks like we're going higher here, Will. Good call there. We'll see if we can bust over and maybe build above yesterday's intraday high here. I've got that at about 39.20. AWE. BRM, is that? I don't have that ticker here. Check that ticker, Aramis. Maybe that's incorrect. Let me check it in my broker and see. By the way, that Chewy Pop is holding, so that's trying to break above 23 here still. Yeah, I don't have anything for BRM. Check that ticker there, Aramis. Chewy actually might be going higher from here. That'd be awesome to take that next leg up. How's BRTX doing here? A little bit of a pullback at that 220 stop. TJF says, where's the SPY volume? It's nothing. Man, well, I was hoping that yesterday's Fed meeting was actually going to lead to more volume for several days. Yesterday, we traded just above 50 million shares. The average, I think, on SPY is 63 or something in there. So we're still below the average. I mean, look, it's the summer. It is the summer. And some of these days are really going to kind of be doldrums. Others, maybe there's something going on. Volume's really kind of been pitiful here. Oh, let me go grab my tea here real quick.
Yeah, but slight bit of profit in this BNTX. I'm not really that confident in it, but hey, it was just for fun. That's the worst thing I could say, right, Nick, is that I'm trading for fun, right? I can't hear you.
There we go. So trading is fun. Trading is fun, especially if you like enjoy it, but then, you know.
BRTX to the highs. Watch 220 here, or 230, excuse me.
Yeah, trading is fun, but trading for fun, maybe you shouldn't be doing that.
Yes.
How's GME doing? Let's check in on that. Let's see if it's reversing on Andy here.
And it looks like the float in this BRTX is 6.42 million thereabouts. So we definitely have a low float runner that's not yet 100% ripper, and I'm definitely looking for this 100% ripper. We're at 68% right now.
Ryan, can you throw up a chart of Spotify, ticker SPOT? There was news yesterday or late last night that the music publishers file FTC complaint against Spotify for fraudulent business practices. That's according to the Rolling Stone. I can't read the article because it's paywalled, but the headline pretty much says it all.
Yeah. I'll be a little bit more patient on that. Rolling Stone is not what it used to be. We'll leave it at that.
I have confirmed it with Variety.
Yeah,
So,
say again.
Variety is also reported on this, so we have more than one source.
Okay.
AMD
Spotify it looks like it's reacting to this as it's trading lower. Andy, I'm sorry. Get in there, man.
Oh no, I'm just saying that AMD after that pop at the open that I said I didn't have much confidence in, it's just rude. I mean, this thing just dropped hard. Relatively speaking on the 5-minute. And the market's pulling back sharply as well. We are at a potential support level, but if we break through this could be one of those days that we've been needing for quite a while.
Jay here, love this stat. 24% of the entire SPY is in 5 companies. Jay, can you remember a time where it seemed like investors were as consolidated in as few names as we are right now? I feel like there's just a handful of names really kind of holding up the entire market. Beanox setup. Let's go, Smoke Tuna. Let's check a look at this setup here. Penny stock. So you're looking for this to maybe reclaim the VWAP here? Just fell out a little bit. Let me know what the setup is here, Smoke Tuna. CRDL bottom bounce. Let's check that one as well. That one is bouncing here. Let's see if we can get back to the VWAP on that. LGVN's trying to go back to its VWAP here. You know, the setup here at LGVN, really anything below, look for a pop here and then stop beneath this 215 size bid that's in there. Good morning. Stay focused. Stay focusing. News on Google.
Yeah, guys, there was news this morning regarding Google. There was an all-hands company meeting. CNBC is reporting, if I can find it, that the Google search head says, quote, "We won't always find," end quote, "mistakes with AI products and have to take risks rolling them out." This is according to Liz Reed, Google's vice president of search. This was what she said at an all-hands meeting that happened last week, and that they won't always find everything when it comes to AI, like the mistakes. Reed urged employees to continue pushing AI products, suggesting they can fix mistakes as users and employees find them. Google has been criticized recently after its AI overview tool gave nonsensical answers to users.
Okay, so that sounds like that is the news here this morning. Stay focused. There you go. Appreciate that, Nick. Appreciate you. AISP being mentioned here. This did pop above its VWAP. I don't have any great set. Am I missing something here, folks? I think the only really good setup here was on that BRTX initial move, and I was just a tad too slow on it. Let me know if you've got anything else that looks really great. Oh, there was Waymo news as well. What was the Waymo news? Nick, can you see if you can find that Waymo news? Re-Google.
Yes, Google's Waymo is recalling nearly 700 AVs after one collides with a pole in Phoenix. They're recalling about 672 of its self-driving vehicles after identifying their ability to avoid a pole or pole-like objects. The company identified the issue after one of its self-driving cars collided with a wooden utility pole in an alleyway in Phoenix, Arizona last month. In a filing, it said with the NHT, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the company fixed the issue by June 6th with a software update to improve its reaction to pool-like objects and robust mapping updates and improvements. That was this morning. We actually just had an article on .com.
Oh, okay. Awesome. And you know what else is interesting about that? I don't know if you caught this, Nick, but Kathy Wood was on CNBC earlier this morning talking about Tesla's self-driving feature and how great that's going to be in the future. I'll say this: I am against this completely. I know that lots of projections that letting the machines doing the driving is going to keep people safe. Maybe that's true for some people, but if you like driving and you have been driving for a long time, I'm skeptical of that. Jay Rice, quick question. Have you ever used any of the Waymos out there in Arizona? I know Becca from our chat has told me about Waymos before. I think she's used one before. We can't ask her because she's on vacation. But Jay, let me know if you have ever tried one of the self-driving Waymos, and if you haven't, would you consider doing that? To me, that's just I like driving a little too much. That's not my thing. April Fool's Poker. So you prefer to put people in greater danger? Classy. That is not at all what I said. It's actually kind of alarming that that's what you took away from it, to be quite honest with you. Jay Rice answering the question, have not. I see them all over the place. I'm with you there. Voodoo says, Ryan, lots of people will be qualifying for Darwin Awards doing the self-driving car thing. Yeah, trust myself over the machine. That is for certain. Now, for other people, I've seen some other drivers out there. You might as well let that machine do the work for you.
Okay, so Ryan, I can tell you this. I have a vehicle that steers itself. It is pretty amazing. When you have like the winds kicking up or you're just feeling a little fatigued and you're driving, this thing keeps you in the lane so well. I mean, you can take your hands off the wheel. You can hold it doesn't matter. It's going to keep you in the lane. It's going to drive really well. So, I mean, I see a purpose for it as an assistance, but as for like actually self-driving and people are not looking at the road, I don't feel that we should be at that point yet.
Yeah, Gary's bringing up the good point. I've actually talked about this with Stay Focused as well. Self-driving for seniors who can't drive anymore is a growing population. This is, I think, where it makes sense, right? If you can't drive anymore, having a self-driving option available seems prudent. But for those of us that enjoy driving, practice driving, and actually take it seriously, I've paid to take driving courses in varying capacities. I've gone to racetracks. Like I'm going to do a better job than the machine. That's just how it is.
Yeah, like Bosch's comment here. They tried a self-driving car in Amsterdam, took 2 hours longer than normal because of all the safety features.
Yeah. So in any case, we'll see how it plays out. It's interesting. I wanted to poll the group here though and see if any of you would take self-driving cars. I'm not at that stage. I'm not getting in one.
Some people, Ryan, I think they need the self-driving car. They're looking at their phone, they're running into people, whatever. These people need the self-driving car.
So one of the things that they said this morning, or Kathy cited, I should say, one of the things that Kathy cited is that the younger generations are massively distracted by text messages. Now that's a legitimate concern. Okay, that is a legitimate concern. When I drive, I do not text. I do not even look at my phone. In fact, my phone plugs into my car and I get access to a lot of the features on the center console. That is a no-go, right? Using your phone while you're driving, especially while you're in motion, no-go. Those are things that anyone can do immediately to make the roadways safer. So I understand that as well.
I can't even do it. If I even tried to look down, my car would veer over. I mean, good thing I have that self-steering deal,
Yeah.
But I don't look at my phone.
On my current car, I have some of the driver assist where it like keeps you in the lane. It's cool how it works, but again, it doesn't do a better job than me. And I'm skeptical to see how long it's going to take for that to be the case. The other thing is, at the end of the day, I like driving, and until that changes, I don't think I'm willing to give it up.
If you have a brief moment, Ryan, we were driving down the interstate and there was a Toyota, one of the bigger SUVs in front of us. And on the off ramp, there was a lot of backup and it was coming out into the freeway a bit. But this vehicle was over a whole other lane from that. And the vehicle perceived that as a need to slam on the brakes. And the Sequoia, or whatever those things are, it spun around right in front of us on the interstate when it had no need to. It did not need to stop. It decided to stop with these people and spin them around the freeway.
Wow. That's a scary situation, Andy. By the way, BRTX here actually just snapped beneath its VWAP. It's right there. Watch for this to kind of reclaim. I might watch this one for a little bit. Let me know if you folks have any other good setups yet. I'm not seeing it. DJF, man, I am with you on the low volume. Like, can we get this turned around? Like, this is not great. Like, it could be so much better than this. So LGVN maybe curling off the bottom, volume not looking great there. Let's take a look at BRTX and see if we can reclaim this VWAP. Let me know if you guys have any other setups going on.
Ticker ZAP. Ryan,
Ticker what?
ZAP. ZAPP.
Okay.
Currently, it's ZAP electric vehicles.
Whoa.
It was vaulted up 59% at some point.
Yeah, I think, you know what? It's been years, but I remember this ticker. I don't think I'm confusing it. I think I've seen this ticker pop like crazy here before. This went from just under 80 cents. We are halted here at 140, right? Yeah, Zap, this is actually the second halt of the day. Let's see if there's any news going on with Zap here. Zap EV to appoint contract manufacturing partner for sales of i300 in India.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's popping here. Electric vehicle PR there. We'll see on Zap. This is currently halted. Again, second halt. We'll see if we get the 3 halt move here. IREN on the smoke tuna, man. This was the call of the day. The call of today came yesterday because smoke tuna told us that this was going to run at the open, and it did it again. 15 coming here on IREN. Smoke tuna also letting us know Zap has a 1-to-20 reverse split in April. Had a 1-to-20 reverse split in April. That's what's going on here.
Ryan, throw up a chart of Boeing. Getting more news regarding Boeing, saying they are investigating quality issue on undelivered 787 jets involving incorrect fastener installation. Over 900 fasteners per plane affected. Boeing confirms safety checks. In-service fleet remains operational. They are working closely with the FAA. Deliveries continue, latest on Tuesday.
Man, Nick, this company cannot get out of the bad news cycle, dude. This is wild. So from what you were just reading there, it sounds like they're aware of all of the problem fasteners, and they don't necessarily see a problem going forward. Is that kind of did I get that correct from that?
Yeah, it seems that they have caught the issue right away and have been working with the FAA. This company, now we know they've had so many issues that the FAA is now really cracking down on a lot of issues. And Boeing has even said to themselves that they are implementing more safety checks than previously before.
Okay, so first of all, 13, good morning. I hope you're doing well out there on the West Coast. Please don't say that, Nick. I have a flight in 5 hours. Just so all you folks know, when 13 landed for his vacation that he's currently at, he sent me a picture of the safety card in his seat, and it was a Boeing plane. And the text message simply had the text, "I made it safe." So 13 sense of humor, clearly not affected. We're glad that you made it safe. Hopefully you make it safe back here. You know, the one thing I will say, just to kind of make you guys feel better about that, Nick, the reason I asked you that follow-up there is because to me, that's extremely good news, right? We have all of this bad news about Boeing planes and all of the problems that they're having. And now it seems that they're catching some of these problems before people are taking videos of the engine on fire or something flying off the plane in mid-flight. To me, that's better. Right? They caught this thing early. That means they're taking this seriously. And actually looking at the stock here, it looks like that initial PR that drove us down, we're bouncing here on Boeing. We are bouncing here on Boeing. Let's see if we can get above the VWAP here on Boeing. I'm going to actually try a little bit of this. Let me try some in a little size here. We'll see if we get above the VWAP. We'll try this. Don't have a great setup here today. Let's try Boeing. Let's try Boeing. And of course, Smoke Tuna is trying to do the Lord's work here, telling me about setups while we're talking about Boeing. DRCT, this right at the VWAP. Smoke Tuna, great call on this one.
So Ryan, if you don't mind me asking, how do you cash out your profits on Trade the Pool?
What do you mean?
Like when you make bank, how and when can you?
Well, so far I've left everything in the account here. Remember, I've got a separate account, so there's no reason to take it out of here. But you do that through their hub on the webpage. And if you have trouble with that, definitely reach out to Gil. I don't think they're here this morning. I think they had another obligation, but we can ask him here. But yeah, all of my funds in Trade the Pool are still in Trade the Pool, Andy.
Are there rules as to when you can extract them?
That you would have to ask Gil, but we'd be happy to do that. I'd be happy to do it. In fact, the next time he comes on here, let me ping him now. The next time he comes on here, let's ask some of those questions. Let's get all of those questions answered. Save them all up. Let me get to work on that right now here real quick. Few questions. You know. Okay. I will try and get you. I'll try and get you an answer on that. Looks like we lost out here on Boeing. Let's see if we move lower. Really, if we come back down towards that 180 level, we'll just cancel this. We'll close this out. Okay, Andy, it is time. It is time. You know what? Here we are, Thursday. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. You know what that means. It is going to be guest time. Andy, do you want to handle the introduction here?
I just want to say one thing, Ryan. You guys, I absolutely wanted to give you guys something else, and I had told Ryan about this, that I wanted to give away one of Brian Shannon's books. And then I thought, what would be a better way to give away one of Brian Shannon's books other than bring Brian Shannon on himself? So, Ryan, go ahead.
Without further ado, Brian Shannon, welcome to the program. It is an honor to have you here. How you doing on this Thursday?
Hey, it's my pleasure to be here. Doing well, thanks. Market's for me a little bit slow. No new positions yet. I'm not quite as active as you guys, I think, with these little names, but doing good. Thanks for having me here.
No problem. Again, thanks for joining. Thanks for taking time out of your day. I'm going to turn this over to Andy here. Obviously, the surprise here with giving away one of your books. By the way, just throwing this out there, I also collect signed books, so FYI. The one thing I will say here, Brian, you are not alone. One of the things that we've been talking about for a while is how the market is really just kind of low volume. Setups are not great. One of the reasons you see me looking at some of the smaller junk names here is because those are the ones that are moving. And frankly, I'm basically I'm doing something I tell people not to do, right? I'm literally forcing myself to try and find a tradable setup. Sometimes I'm successful, other times I'm not. But I'm with you here. It's been tough. It's been really low volume. It's been slow. Yesterday, I know we obviously got the CPI print and then the Fed, and that gave maybe some trading options here. But for the most part, it's really kind of been rough. Full disclosure here, my favorite type of trading is swing trading and not day trading. So I would prefer to just do that, but not the best environment for that. I'm curious to know, is there anything out there that you see that is appealing to you?
I've got a couple that, of course, each day I come in with a list. I'm prepared for things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I missed eBay out of the gate. That was probably one of my top 3 ideas for today. That one just ran immediately. I didn't jump on it. Snap, I'm keeping an eye on. I think maybe Snap, even above the high of the day so far, 1595, I think is that one could get going. It's got a good longer term look to it as well on the weekly time frame. And it's holding above the anchor from that recent high that it made earlier in the month, or I'm sorry, late last month, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the other things I'm looking at really kind of have just pulled back too deep here. So that's really kind of all I've got. It's although actually a little speculative name would be this WULF. And if it can get back above this, it's kind of failing in here now, maybe about 415, then that one might be able to continue some of this run that it's had.
Yeah, real good. We actually did take a look here at Wolf out of the gate. Wolf has actually been on a pretty decent run. That daily formation was pretty juicy, right? We traded up there, a little bit of a regression back to the mean, then bang, pop on a big candle. We actually gapped higher here. I'm with you on that spot. 415 looks to be a perfect spot here for Wolf. We'll see if we can. First thing we need to do at the time being is reclaim that VWAP. We'll see. Okay. Really good stuff. Andy, I'm sorry for running you over there. I got so excited. I just had to start with some questions right out of the gate.
Good to see you,
Andy. Completely understand. Good morning, Brian. Great to see you. And I like this comment here by Jay Summers. Brian, the dark overlord of the VWAP.
Okay, I'll take that.
So I got a chance over here to give some of these folks in the chat some shirts of ours. And then last time I gave out, I believe, I was giving out 3 ancient Roman coins, and I was able to give out 4. And I thought that your books have helped me more than most things in trading.
More than an ancient Roman coin?
I mean, yeah, probably more valuable even, So I thought the next thing I'd like to give away here would be one of your books. Would you mind if I told him how kind you were when I told you this?
Sure, whatever you want.
So guys, I told Brian that I wanted to give away one of his books and asked him if he wanted to come join at that moment so you guys can have an even greater experience. And not only did he say he would come join, but he said that I could give the book away, but he would just send it out to you guys. So I didn't even have to pay for the book. So what I want to do then is let you guys know that we're giving away 2 books today, because Brian's going to send out the book that he said he'd give out, and I'm going to buy another book to give you guys as well. So anyways, However you guys want to do this, whenever you guys want to start, you can just throw some ones in the chat if you want to be considered for this giveaway.
Okay, that is amazing. Andy, Alyssa, are you folks taking care of the giveaway here, making sure we get that?
Yes.
Alyssa with the
That'd be the
okay,
best.
we'll take that. Let's
Yeah,
go.
God.
I
Thanks a lot.
appreciate it. We're about to have this chat get flooded with ones here. So awesome stuff. Can't thank both of you enough for doing this, by the way.
So I hope you don't mind me changing it up a little bit, Brian, but I just figured, two's better than one, right?
Sure, of course.
And while the chat's doing that, would you mind letting us know like how you came across the VWAP and the anchor VWAP and how that is transformed your trading?
And if you could somehow tie in that dark overlord of the VWAP moniker, I'd love to hear that story as well.
It happened at midnight in a graveyard. I used to use the trading platform called RealTech, and RealTech, I don't know if they're around anymore. This was 20 years ago, and I was just kind of stumbling around on their trend tools, drawing trend lines and that sort of thing. And I saw this thing called a VWAP trend line, and I had no idea what it was. So what you would do is kind of draw it like a trend line. You would click on one spot, drag it. And what I noticed is if you click it like 4 days ago, it would draw a horizontal line, and the line would kind of go up and follow up under an uptrend or above a downtrend. So I was looking at this going, wow, look at how much it bounces off this thing. This is weird. I don't know what this is. So then I found out that they had VWAP for the day on there for the daily chart. And I found out then if you go from a 1 day chart to a 2 day chart or a 5 day chart and left that VWAP on there, it would keep that VWAP from the beginning of whatever period you studied. So it might be 10 days ago. So I started experimenting with a 2 day volume weighted average price and then from earnings and that sort of thing. And I really noticed that these things were paying attention and bouncing almost precisely from that volume weighted average price from an event or from a low 5 days ago and that sort of thing. So fast forward to 2018 rather, TC2000 said, hey, we'd like you to use our software. And I've always had a relationship with them. I said, well, here's the thing. I'll switch over if you can do this for me. If you can do the volume weighted average price and do a point and click anchor, then I'm yours forever, because this thing is so valuable. And so they did that, and they were the first ones to have the anchored volume weighted average price. And they were kind enough to call it the anchored VWAP by Alpha Trends. So that I kind of, have been talking about it on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it these days. And so now, I wrote the book about it, and it's been it took me a good 4 years to write that book, and it came out last January. And really 5 years. I mean, because I wanted to make sure it was right and get all the strategies that I put in there, down, make sure they work. And it's my primary tool to this day for swing trades and for day trades. And the great thing is it's, even valuable for longer term than that.
It's pretty cool. I see that you got the Anchor VWAP now in numerous platforms, so that's great to see. And yeah, I mean, basically your book, both of your books have helped me and transformed my trading, helped me become more of a responsible trader, because I'm a little impatient, and I like to jump the gun quite a bit.
We all do. Yeah.
It's helped me to like in chess, when I'm playing and I start to lose, you're tempted to like get angry and just shut the game down. But instead, I'm forced to have to look at the game and look myself in the mirror and see what I've done wrong. And your books are helping me along with my trades, have helped me along with my trades to do that as well.
That's so
yeah. I think we have a chat that was full of ones. Alyssa, do you have anything on that?
In a second.
Yeah, she's still tallying. Let's mitigate Alyssa's workload. There were nothing but ones, just to be clear. A couple of things here real quick. LGVN, this popped into a halt here. This is a masterful call by Smoke Tuna. You guys were just talking about the VWAP. Tony was asking, how the hell could you catch that pop? Tony, one of the things, I'll let Smoke Tuna answer for himself here, but one of the things that I noticed is that we had a nice little volume expansion off this curl. Once we reclaimed the VWAP and then held above it, that's really what kind of sent this. So as you guys were talking about VWAP, we had one of these little junkier stocks reclaim, expand the volume, and blow through there. Trim into this move, or if you're still in it during the halt, I would trim when this opens here. One more thing to mention real quick. Look who has shown up. Trade the Pool. If you guys have any questions, including you, Andy, regarding using Trade the Pool or your account, Gil's the man. Go ahead and check it out.
Yeah, Gil, earlier.
By the way, Ryan, if I can talk about that LGVN for a moment.
Absolutely.
One of the first article I ever wrote about the volume weighted average price, I think it was in 2009, and it was chase the gap or wait for VWAP. And I wrote that for tradingmarkets.com. And what that is, I wrote an article about, you see a stock gap up and you don't want to chase it because obviously it can undergo some profit taking. And if you chase this one at 247, it dropped all the way to $2.06 per share, 5 cents per share. So instead you wait for that initial profit taking to undergo, does resolve itself. And then as it reclaims the volume weighted average price, which it did at 10:02, as it crossed above 230, that's the place to buy, because it tells us at that point, what it's telling us is now the profit taking is apparently over. The buyers are in control. The average short seller who went in and tried to fade this is now losing money. So this is the low risk place to buy it, with a stop underneath the most recent relevant high or low. And I wasn't watching this stock, so I missed it, but that would have been a beauty for that. And, now you've got this nice halt up on the circuit breaker, I guess.
Now, so first of all, that's awesome. Tony, I hope that you're getting information out of this. The Dark Lord of the VWAP just broke down how you could have taken advantage of this. Brian, my question here is, you were mentioning how, all of the shorts now are losing money now that we've kind of done that. In your opinion, or in your experience, does that kind of lead to maybe some of these circuit breakers? Like here, we've got a really kind of low price stock. It's not a huge name. And all of a sudden now we have this move that's taking us to the highs. Could that kind of be some of those shorts maybe running to cover and causing that halt?
I think absolutely. Yeah. Okay. I mean, if I had shorted that in the morning. So, what it tells us, and just for those who don't understand, the volume weighted average price just says from the beginning of whatever point we measure from. In this case, we're looking at the beginning of the day. What's the average price that anyone is involved? Not just the buyers, but the short sellers who are, trying to be clever and fade this, which initially they had it right. As it broke below the volume weighted average price, they had it correct. As it got back above the volume weighted average price 29 minutes later, on average, those short sellers were losing money. Doesn't mean every single one of them, but on average. And that's what we're looking for, is market sentiment. Well, how's the average person situated, long or short? So at that point, the buyers, are looking at it saying, here we go. My buying makes sense now. Maybe I'll add a little bit. The short sellers start thinking, here we go. Now I'm losing money. Mm-hmm. I've got to cover quick. And then the longs are like, hey, let's gun this thing. Let's try to squeeze those shorts. So, that's kind of the battle line, really. And where a lot of intraday battles are won and lost and fought at that daily volume weighted average price. And then you've got your, 2-day VWAP, your week to date, your month to date, year to date is super relevant. So there's, all kinds of places to anchor from, but they've got to be meaningful to the market itself, and understand what you're looking at is the true supply and demand. Who has control? With 100% certainty how the average person is positioned from your starting point.
Okay. Really, really awesome stuff there. LGVN, by the way, here looks like it's pulling back. Did take out 3 and pulling back. Brian, awesome stuff. Anyone that wants to know, here is the book, Maximum Trading Gains with Anchored VWAP by Brian Shannon. Brian, again, can't thank you enough for all of this. Alyssa, are we ready? Looks like you're ready. Looks like you're ready.
I have 2 questions before we do this, if you don't mind, for Brian.
Absolutely.
One, Brian, your next book, can you make it about in-depth supply and demand? That would be amazing.
Next
I know
book?
this is
I need another 6 years to recover.
I understand that, and I'm not trying to outgive you, because that was very kind of you to offer that. That's amazing. But Brian, I did violate sort of what you had asked me originally, and I had told Ryan, my friend here, about this, and he said that he also loves signed books.
I heard that.
Is there a way that I could possibly buy another book? So I'll buy 2 and get Ryan one of these as well signed.
You don't have to buy it. Ryan, I'd be happy to send you one. Send me your info offline.
Okay, you got it. I really appreciate that. And like I was just saying, so my signed book collection started with scientists and sports figures, and I really haven't got into the trading game yet. You are going to be the first, Brian.
Well,
so
right.
I cannot thank you enough for that.
You just quit right there.
Exactly. There we go. I got them all. I got them all. Okay. By the way, here, SPY leaking just a little bit here. We're kind of at the pre-market lows right here. We'll see if we end up giving this up. Market across the board looking pretty weak here. NASDAQ leading the way down, it seems. Dow's pretty weak. So market looking pretty weak here. Let's see what else did I miss here from the chat. Yeah, do you guys see anything out there, any types of really decent setups? No, I don't really see a whole lot of anything at the moment. Tesla looked like this really kind of came back in. That's also still kind of holding those pre-market levels there. See where LGVN is at. That might be curling and make a move back towards those highs. How about BRTX? That was one. Wow, really kind of tough performance here on BRTX. Speaking of the VWAP, this lost the VWAP and lost all of its strength in the same breath. Alyssa, you want to get this show on the road?
I can, yes. I'm just gonna like boot off your thing and put mine right there.
Works for me.
We're doing it twice, 2 winners, right?
Well, there's 3 winners. Ryan's a winner as well, but he already.
I don't count.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna hit it. We got 51 entries, 52 entries, 52.
Spin that wheel, baby.
Spin it.
BRTX moving lower as the wheel spins.
Yeah, everything I'm looking at is moving lower.
Jay's life.
Jay's life, the first winner. You know what I really like about this? We're going to call this market karma. Jay's life was in here earlier asking you folks to smash that like button for our guest Brian Shannon here. And now the wheel has chosen him as a winner. You love to see it.
Congratulations, Jace. Okay, I'm going to hit it again.
And reminder, as this is settling here, reminder, we do have Gil from Trade the Pool. If you have any questions about Trade the Pool, now is the time to ask. Jay's life, you are welcome, dude.
Okay, and Jake Martin, you also won.
Jake Martin, our second winner here. Alyssa, make sure that I shouldn't say that. What do we need to make sure that we get the contact information?
You guys can email me at Andy@MightySoldiersTrades, and I will get your information and we'll get that sent out to you.
Okay, we're having a really fun day here. Real quick, Bosch Trading says, I want that Wheel of Fortune for every show. You guys have really kind of rubbed the genie. You've let the genie out of the bottle here. But I have another surprise for you that you guys don't know about. Alyssa, could you put that wheel back up, please?
Yes.
So, Andy, you had asked earlier, you had some questions about Trade the Pool. I'd like you to ask those to Gil here and get your answers, but we have a surprise. All of the benevolence has really kind of brought more benevolence out of the woodwork, and Gil, it sounds like, is going to give away a free mini buying power Trade the Pool account because he likes the giving and the wheel spinner so much.
That is
So
awesome.
who is interested in a mini buying a power free Trade the Pool eval account? Can we get some ones? Alyssa, would you is it too much work to reset the wheel and then get people in?
I can do that.
Okay, Fairchild is in.
So we're getting
We got a
those
couple
ones.
of people in. This is look, when I woke up this morning, I didn't realize we were doing all of this cool stuff. And here we are giving stuff away. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. Brian, you had mentioned there that it looked like everything on your screen was going down. I still don't have a really good long setup. I see Apple maybe bouncing here off of its low, but I don't feel great about this.
No, it seems like a day to maybe consolidate a little bit and fade. SPY's about to go negative here. And that Russell 2000, what a disaster that is. It's just gap every day and then bleed out. Or actually, the Tuesday and Wednesday, we had gap down and buy. I'm sorry, Monday and Tuesday. Yesterday, we gapped up and faded. So seems like a good fade in the Russell, but I don't, that's not my style of trading. Semis are even coming in, so perhaps we're a little bit overdone here. And sometimes it takes a day or two for the effect of the Fed to really kind of settle into the market.
Yeah, I'm with you here. Let me ask you a question about IWM. What do you think it's going to take to really kind of turn this thing around? Do you think this is basically just a rate story? If they start cutting rates, maybe some of these smaller cap stocks will look more attractive.
I don't think of it in those fundamental terms. Okay. That's certainly the way everyone seems to describe it. But to me, I just look at it and I see a disaster, and that just tells me avoid it. I don't want to figure out what's going to make it turn. I want to see it turn and then maybe participate. Till then, I think I'm just going to avoid it.
Yeah, and to be perfectly clear here, I actually hold a bunch of small caps now, and you're exactly right. It's awful, and you want to not participate in it. Maybe wait for that to turn around here. It's been brutal in 2024. Thankfully, we've been able to make some money on the side to really kind of balance that out. So, okay, really good stuff there. Okay, Alyssa, when we get all of the entries for this, we have yet another surprise. We're just surprising up the joint here today, Alyssa.
Got a pretty cool comment too, Ryan. My friend, president of the local library, Fairchild, says my president, the president of the local library board, will make sure that the anchored VWAP book gets ordered for checkout. So that's awesome.
Hey, nice. Library connections. Let's go. So real quick here, Gil has now informed me that we're actually going to be spinning the wheel 3 times for those mini buying power accounts. Those are 20K buying power accounts. So if you're interested in that, be sure to get involved here, and we will have Alyssa spin the wheel. Let's take a look at Boeing here. That trade was green for a little bit, but didn't really work. We're actually back down to the VWAP here. If we give this up, we'll just close this one at flat. It didn't work. Probably should have taken some gains there a little bit earlier, but reduce the position size to try and let this one run. We didn't get any run. We'll see what happens here at the VWAP. Okay. DJF saying, time to hit the beach or the park. The market has a hangover today. Can't argue with that. If the market is not participating, go ahead and exercise your mind and body. Can't think of a better idea there. Good luck, DJF. We'll see you tomorrow. Losing the VWAP here on Boeing. We'll close this one. We'll wait for this to set back up. We had a little bit of gains there, but we really couldn't hold on to them. LGVN, that is also coming back into the VWAP. We'll see if that sets up, if it comes back in. Chewy, you love to see it. We're still long calls here on this swing for Chewy. Remember, those calls don't expire until July, so we still got some time. We paid ourselves on the way up, including selling some of these at 100% gain, making the trade impossible to lose on. Keep it up. Voodoo Anne-Marie is tomorrow. Anne-Marie will be joining us tomorrow after live trading. So if you have questions or you have stocks that you want to maybe get some Butterfly or Iron Condor trading ideas, get those tickers together and get them saved for tomorrow. We will take care of that here tomorrow.
And guys, I've closed out 3 positive shorts in the market in the futures today, and I'm still holding those penny stocks that I told you I got a small position in, LGVN and BRTX. BRTX, I didn't intend to hold this long. We just got caught up here, and I let it run, but it's a small position, so I'm not worried about it. But Brian, thanks so much, man. That's awesome that you're willing to come over here and meet everybody, and
Yeah, of course.
you know, that I was not expecting that. That was super awesome.
We're all after the same thing, profits in the market. And the more eyes, the better, and more knowledge is, we're all always learning, myself included. Just because I've written a book doesn't mean I know everything. That's for sure.
Brian, one of the things, sorry, Andy. One of the things that I learned very, very early in this career is that this career was going to be very much like education, where it's a lifelong learning process. Like there's never a point where we're done learning about the market, about what happens. You might have a strategy that you kind of wash, rinse, and repeat. But in my opinion, I see different things every day, and I learn something every single day, whether it's our community or some mentor or anything like that. So this is a job where you'll be learning until the very, very end, I feel like.
Yeah, and learning about ourselves as well.
Absolutely.
See, I got hurt coming out of the Army, and basically my push to recovery, this was the community that I finally went into. And I cannot believe and tell you guys the support that I've received here. It's freaking amazing. So
that's really good to hear. That is really good to hear. Anything we can do to help those that serve, I am all about that. All about it. By the way, Zap getting mentioned here in the chat by a number of you. Zap, this is an absolute halt fest. Zap halted to the upside 6 times here today. 1, 2, 3, 4. There might have been one downside halt in there. 6 halts for Zap today. That's something that's a little too risky for me. I generally stay away from those.
Yeah, likewise.
And it's just, look, if I can't control the position that I'm in, aren't I just gambling or just kind of relying on luck? Forget it. I'll wait till I can control my own outcome there. Alyssa, we good on the spinner? We ready to do this?
We're good. I just finished.
Well, right. Good timing here. So remember, we're going to spin this 3 times. These are going to be for 20K buying power accounts for Trade the Pool. Please smash up the like and say thank you to Gil, who has given this away on behalf of the stream here. Let's get rolling. First spin. I'm flipping through stocks in the background, by the way, while we're looking. Sully, congratulations. You win a 20K buying power account. Gil, let me know. Do you want the winners to email you? How do you want to handle this? I'll take notes here in my little scratch pad just to make sure I get the names of all of those viewers in here. Gil is saying yes, email. So I'll go ahead and drop the email here in the chat. You folks that win, you can reach out to Gil. Also, remember, I want to encourage, if you guys have questions about this, please reach out to Gil. Andy, I think we should ask him those questions as soon as we're done drawing these. Alyssa, you want to give that another spin there?
Yep. 2 more.
Rufus saying, please explain Toyota. I'm losing a fortune. What does Wheel of Fortune say? We can take a look at the chart and try to break it down for you, but I don't know if the wheel is going to help you. El Tururu? Did I do that right?
Tururu.
That's a pretty cool name there. Congratulations, El Tururu. You will also win a 20K buying power account there. Go ahead and email Gil. You guys are absolutely hilarious. Oh, look at this. Thinking about it. Congratulations, my man. You are also the winner of a Trade the Pool mini buying power account. Okay. Gil, I can't thank you enough for kind of impromptu doing that. That is absolutely awesome. We're hanging out here on a Thursday, and this is exactly the type of stuff I want to see from our community. I will say here, though, Andy, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask Gil? Let's go ahead and do those.
Okay, well, my questions was just basically earlier about the Trade the Pool, your Trade the Pool account, Ryan, how how you get paid. How do you extract money from your account when you make profit when you're trading with a company like Trade the Pool, and if there's any rules as far as when you can or how much or how that goes.
Okay, so Gil, let me know if you heard that. Basically, just to kind of summarize, how do you get paid when you do make successful trades? As mentioned here, I've not made any type of transfers from the account. I'm actually just leaving everything in the account for the sake of the account. But if you could answer Andy's question here, that would be awesome. You can withdraw funds every 14 days once you reach a profit of $300. There is your answer, Andy.
Wow, that's pretty good.
There is your answer. Okay. Thinking about it, says, thanks. How do I get this? Email Gil. Let me go ahead and throw his email in the chat again. There you go. Go ahead and shoot him an email, all of you winners out there, and we'll get those accounts distributed. Okay, got about a half an hour here left on the show. I don't really know how we're going to top it. This has really been amazing to start off here. And I'm glad we actually picked a really good day to do this, because you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but still not seeing a whole lot of setups here. Kudos to you for hitting some of those short setups. A long bias trader myself, I generally try to be patient and wait that out. And to be honest with you, I haven't seen a whole lot turn around here. So I'd be curious to know if you folks see anything else out there that we should take a look at as a group. How's Broadcom still holding up?
And Brian,
go ahead.
Since the books will be coming from you, do you think it would be better for them to email you to be able to have you send that out with their information?
Yeah, sure. You can send it to support@alphatrends.net.
Brian, what I was going to ask you is, do you have any general thoughts on the whole AI craze that we're seeing, and then how those apply to stocks? I guess just to kind of give you some guardrails here. One of the things that our group has been talking about is, what is the actual implication of AI going to be long term? Have you seen trends like this? Are there any pitfalls that you want to share with the group? And then overall, what do you think about AI and some of the AI related stocks?
Yeah, we can talk with my personal experience with AI. I think it's an amazing tool. I've stopped using Google for anything. It's just, sifting through the ads to get any information is, thank God we have an alternative to that. Perplexity.ai is what I like to use when you just ask a question, get good information. Grok is good as well. I think that, I heard a phrase that said AI isn't going to replace your job, but somebody who knows how to use it will. It's a great resource. It's a tool. And you still, just like trading, you can have these algorithms. I think, earlier, Ryan, you were talking about, you're still a better driver than the full serve. What the FSD?
Self-driving.
The full self-driving, I guess they call it. And I think that's the way it is with the market. And I think that's the way it is with information as well. With the market, I mean that, some human oversight into, we can do scans, we can do programs that, tell us, here's some good candidates. But to use that human judgment is, going to help in most cases, except for less experienced traders who tend to get emotional. But same with AI. I think the stories this morning where Google is, I think I heard it here. I think I heard Nick saying that Google was saying, internal memo said we're going to have all kinds of data issues, and that's just the way it is rolling out a new technology. So you still got to get some HI in there when you look at your results from an AI search and say, what is the information here and how good is it? I've Googled, I've used AI and said, who invented VWAP? And then it comes up with, some guy you've never heard of who has nothing to do with it. Or, things like that. Just there's some bad information out there that's just going to get repeated over and over again. It becomes that echo chamber of false information. So kind of long-winded answer about that, but I think anything that NVIDIA is the poster child for investing in this, and it's the picks and shovels of this new gold rush, and they're clearly the leader. I think the problem is going to be, how do you monetize AI? And I don't have thoughts about how that's going to be done, but I'll just I think it's super exciting. You look at this group and say, this group of stocks should be hot for the foreseeable future. So let's keep a focus on them and let the charts tell us when to get involved.
Yeah, I think that's, first of all, I think it required kind of a longer winded answer, to be quite honest with you. I think that's a really good answer. The one thing for me with AI that I'm kind of keeping an eye on here is back in the day, and I wasn't actively trading back in the .com boom. I was starting to get interested in it. I had seen Wall Street for the first time, so that's really what kind of kicked this whole thing off. I hate to admit it, but Bud Fox and Gordon Gekko is probably one of the reasons I'm here. So I started to get interested in it. I told my parents a number of times, you got to buy this stock called Google. You got to buy this stock called Google. And they're like, why? We're not going to make any money off of that. And here we are a number of years later. It's like, oh, right. That was a big miss. To me, the whole thing with AI here is that there's going to be this huge expansion and then a contraction. And then the really important pieces of this are going to be with us forever. And those will probably be iterated on. The difficulty when it comes to stock trading here is that outside of some of the bigger names like Apple, maybe Nvidia, IBM, I'm not sure how to pick the AI winners. First of all, I'm not sure I understand all of the different AI products completely. And I think that AI is inevitably going to lead to something that's bigger than what we have now. I'm not sure necessarily how to pick those winners, but I am trying to trade or I am trying to get involved with as many of these names as possible and do it as safely as possible. So
I think it's kind of similar to Bitcoin and IREN, Mara, CLSK, Coinbase, and those sort of things. So, Coinbase is going to be more of a leader, I think, because they have the brokerage and they make a commission. And there's still a lot of inefficiencies in those commissions. I'd love to see, it go towards no commission trading in crypto, the way we saw them tumble in equities as well. I think that's eventually where it goes. So where are those winners going to be? And how deep down into the fundamentals do you want to dig? Personally, not too deep. Because I start looking at the fundamentals and I start believing the stories, and then I start losing money. And deny when the stock is going down. So that's my personal pitfall is, if I know too much, then I start to have confidence in the stock, and that's not a good thing generally.
Well said there. By the way, Andy, I don't know if you're checking it out, but look at GME. We're kind of getting a bounce. This is the stock that can do whatever it wants, it seems. Maybe it's going to end up bailing you out here on your diamond hands play.
Yeah, so Brian, this is embarrassing. I decided that I was just going to buy some GME. I got some profit, and then when it pulled back, I said I'm going to buy some again. But I said this time I'm going to diamond hands this thing. I'm not a diamond hands guy. I think it's foolish to do. I think that I should never trade outside of my predefined risk. But I decided to do it last night or yesterday. I got into profit, and then it rejected immediately all the way down, and so it's working its way back up. Maybe I'll get lucky, but at this point, it's a gamble.
We all have one of those trades here and there. Just as long as it's small size, right, Andy? And it can't hurt you.
Well, that's the whole point. Anything that I do like that, I'm making sure that I can lose the entire amount, not just a stop loss. Right. When I first got into this, I looked at a stop loss as like what I was willing to lose, so I could play bigger size because I was only willing to lose such amount, and that just runs right through your stop loss. You end up killing your account doing stuff like that. So I decided to re-examine my risk when I'm playing foolish plays. I got a garbage man shirt that I have. And, so when I'm trading penny stocks, smaller percentage of my account, smaller percentage that I'm willing to lose the entirety of it in each play.
A real good job controlling your risk from the outset. You'll hear me say that a lot. That's actually one of the reasons why I really like options. Gives you the ability to define your risk ahead of the trade.
Likewise, yeah.
Yeah, that generally speaking puts me in a good position to succeed there. 13 says GME is a casino. Don't let the house get you. What I like the most about that comment is, like we were saying, if you get profits in this, don't be afraid to take them. This is some crazy stuff here. If you play long enough, the house always wins. So be sure, taking the Ocean's 11 theme here, be sure that you when you have some gains there, you take the house when you get the opportunity, because you will not always have that opportunity. Alyssa, you're getting really excited about the wheel, aren't you?
It's pretty fun.
We
to
might
use.
have to do Wheel Fridays. We might have to start a new segment here. Today was the birth of that. Again, can't thank you folks enough. By the way, be sure to follow Brian on X or Twitter, Brian, whichever one you call it. I go back and forth. Went ahead and put his Twitter handle there in the chat. Again, we can't thank you enough for coming on here today. Be sure that you smash up the like for our guy here and go follow him on X. Really, really great stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Brian. Appreciate it.
SMCI here. Jay, you were on this early. SMCI, a number of different legs up here. Volume looking pretty good. That first one was right at the VWAP. The next one a little bit above it, but still pretty good here. We asked earlier, I'd just kind of like to reiterate, do we think SMCI might be a potential for a split here? We've seen NVIDIA. I guess it started with Chipotle, even though that has nothing to do with AI. We had NVIDIA's split. We've got Broadcom announcing a split last night. You think we're going to have SMCI splitting next? Anybody?
Makes sense. I mean, you figure if you're at that company, you see these other guys doing splits and their stocks are responding positively, and it would totally make sense.
See if we can get a trade up if they do announce that and see what happens afterwards. So it makes sense to me too here. We'll see if we end up getting that. We'll see. Oh yeah, Williams Sonoma. That was right. WSM. Nick brought us that news this morning. Thank you. Thinking about it.
Speaking of options, what you were saying earlier, Ryan, looking at the monthly chart on SMCI, it has me interested in checking out the options.
Here, let me bring up Benzinga Pro. We can actually take a better look at the chart instead of the one that I've got right here. Go ahead and do that real quick. Here is SMCI, and here is the monthly chart that you were just referencing. What are you seeing here, Andy?
I mean, basically, we pulled back just above that 9 EMA on the monthly, and we're holding. I think we just popped just above the VWAP as well. So, to start a really nice consolidation, this would be a really great starting point. And for me to take any small position, or it just looks good to me.
Yeah, one of the things that we had drawn here recently on some of these longer term charts was going to be this trend line. We've actually done a really good job kind of clearing this trend line out on a lot of these different time frames. If we start here with the daily, you can see this is actually where we drew this trend line the first time. Done a great job breaking above it. Now, we did use that 50-day moving average as resistance, and in fact, we're still using that. But look, we got a point coming up right here. RSI is kind of in no man's land right now. I'll be interested to see what happens if we move through this. If we move now to the weekly, you can see we still are holding above that trend line. The same is true here on the monthly. To my eye here, Andy, it does seem like the next move here is higher. We'll see if we end up getting that.
Well, what I like about it, Ryan, is that, relatively speaking, for the chart, I have a nice place for a stop that I don't really have to. I don't have to think too much on this.
Nope. Take the emotion out of it. So one of you guys mentioned emotions earlier. I've learned from probably day 2 that controlling your emotions is going to be paramount. And honestly, that is an ongoing battle. That is not something that I am confident in saying I've gotten past. I wrangle my emotions every single day that I show up to work here. That is a constant process that we can always work on. Oh, let's see if there's anything else there. BRTX still holding under that VWAP. Let's see if we can reclaim that. This might be an afternoon play. Maybe keep it on your radar. LGVN did come back into the VWAP and bounced, although it's not great here. Volume is kind of contracting. I'd like to see that expand from where we're at now to give us another trade setup. Otherwise, I'm seeing kind of some junky penny names on here. Barnes and Noble, we're giving away books here, so Barnes and Noble trading higher. Barnes and Noble pushing away. Don't say Paramount. Why, did you have a bad experience with ticker Para? Wasn't even referencing that. Yikes! Another bad day here for Paramount. Sorry, thinking about it. Didn't mean to put salt on the wounds.
And speaking of that gap fill on Tesla earlier, Ryan.
Let me bring that back up here. What chart was that was that on the daily that we had that on?
Basically, I was just looking for us to drop off and begin to fill this gap. And it looks like we just dropped off the 65 hard straight to the 200. I'm looking now to see if we can just pop this lower shadow and come right back in to the upside rather than continue to fill the gap. But we'll have to see.
I think you
gap-
keep an eye on the
Go ahead.
2-day VWAP there at about 181.
2-day VWAP. So do you use a 2-day chart for that, Brian?
I'm looking at a 5-minute chart right now
Okay.
with that. So I've typically got the daily VWAP. The 2-day is extremely important. I have found, and then a week to date. So that's, your 4-day at this point. But I think that, the move began yesterday. So that makes this 2-day VWAP more relevant for Tesla in particular. So you have to kind of look at it in terms of where the move began as well. You could also, I suppose, look at the anchor from the low on the 11th, which would be, somewhere around 179.5. But I suspect that 2-day volume weighted average price will get tested and be a good place to see if it holds for a quick little bounce.
Okay. Man, I'll tell you what, I can't wait to expand my VWAP powers and kind of go through that. I've never even thought or looked at a 2-day VWAP. I have looked into the anchored VWAP, but not the 2-day one that you just mentioned. That would be something to do here.
The VWAP itself is just for one day. Anything beyond that is an anchored VWAP. So it's, the anchored from yesterday's beginning, the 2-day VWAP. It's just, all semantics, I guess, but the VWAP is for one day is traditionally how it is, defined.
Right. Awesome. We got a question here from Stay Focused in the chat that unfortunately I can't answer, but we'll pose it to the group here, asking Ryan, when will Brian be back? Brian, it looks like you've made a pretty good impression here on day one. We would love to have you back here. No reason to commit here today, but we would love to have you back on the show. Stay focused. I will absolutely try and bring him back.
Sure. I'm definitely open to that.
Okay. Amazing. And we won't force you into giving stuff away all of the time. I know we kind of did that today, but really appreciate that. Learn with Moses asking, Brian, do you have a YouTube channel? So I gave your Twitter out. Do you have any other spots that people can find you at?
I do. Twitter is probably the best place, or X, whatever you want to call it, as we were talking about. But every Friday I do a free video on YouTube. It's generally about 10 to 15 minutes long. I do them on Wednesdays once in a while as well. And it's just at Alpha Trends. So YouTube Alpha Trends.
There you go. Alpha Trends is the YouTube channel. Learn with Moses. Be sure to smack that follow and subscribe button. Andy, did you want to get in there?
Yeah, I just want to tell you guys that these videos, no nonsense view of the market, and I think it's one of the greatest ways to wrap up the week. I've said that over and over on X, and I believe it. So definitely check that out.
Thank you, Andy.
Okay, really, really good stuff here. You folks seeing anything out there? I tell you what, I am massively impressed with how we were able to fill up today. It definitely still seems slow on my end. Apple really kind of right back to where it opened here. Don't really see a whole lot. Nick, I haven't heard you with a news break yet. Are the news wires still slow? What's going on?
No, we're just getting some more headlines out of Boeing. We have a Senate hearing going on right now, and so the FAA administrator was there and is testifying. The only headlines that we've heard is that the FAA administrator admits the agency was, quote, too hands-off with Boeing before Alaska Airlines incident. Boeing 787 team checking fasteners inside of body area of some undelivered Dreamliners. And then in the Senate hearing a few minutes after, he said that there's no specific talks with Boeing on increasing 737 MAX production above current 38 planes per month, the cap. So they're currently capped at 38. There's no timetable on when that will be lifted.
Okay, and if we take a look here at the Boeing chart intraday, it's just kind of holding in there. Doesn't look like it's necessarily reacting to that news. This first reaction, I think, is when that came out here. We had a pretty decent bounce, but we really couldn't go higher. Your first stop is your best stop here. Once we kind of lost that VWAP, we just traded beneath it. Okay, good stuff there. Let me go ahead and go back to the trade the pool broker here. See if we can finish up. LGVN bouncing off of that VWAP right here. Pretty decent volume candle. Pretty decent price candle. I'd like to see a little bit more volume in this move, but this going pretty well. He's definitely using that VWAP.
That was a nice bounce there.
Yeah, it sure was. I'll tell you what, the day that we talk a lot about VWAP, it's nice to see that indicator really kind of shining here. We're seeing it on multiple time frames here and multiple different equities that are clearly interacting with it.
I'll show you here too. When you look at that, I'm always a fan of, I always say don't buy the dip. And even for a day trade, when it pulls back to that volume weighted average price, I don't want to buy the touch of the volume weighted average price. So it touched the VWAP right at, what time was this? Hold on. It touched it right at 10:37 a.m. It wasn't until actually when you were just mentioning it at 10:43 that it had bounced from the VWAP. And that, in my mind, was the place to purchase it at $2.65 at 10:43 a.m. I don't know if you can drill in on a 1 minute time frame and see that. But wow, that's a spectacular bounce too.
Yeah, it sure is. We finally got that. Look at that. That actually took us above the intraday highs here too. Hopefully you folks that were in that trimmed into that move. Those types of spikes like that is exactly what I'm looking for on day trades for exit triggers, right? Especially if we're able to move over a level like VWAP or the intraday high. In this case, this is a bounce from VWAP over that intraday high. I would definitely lighten some there. High there, 330, a little bit more size sitting on the offer. We'll see if that gets taken out here. That was a great pop as we were just kind of talking about it live there. Love to see the volume expand here. Giddy up. Brian, let me go ahead and dive into that 1 minute chart that you were asking about. I've got one that's a little bit bigger. It's going to be easier for our group here to see. Let's go ahead and do that. Here is that 1 minute chart that you were just asking about.
Yeah. So can you put the daily volume weighted average price on there?
I think the only one that I can put on here is going to be, I think I just have the standard VWAP from TradingView. Here you go.
Yeah. So as you can see that the first touch of it was that red candle that occurred at, what time was that? That was, right there.
9:36.
So then you move over about 5 bars where it's, it's touching. And then that 2 over from there, right there was actually where you were just talking about it. And I would say it actually looks pretty good here. And I don't really trade these stocks, but I was tempted to buy it. And now I'm kind of kicking myself because I didn't. But that to me is the place to buy because that's where it's bouncing from the volume weighted average price. It's not just touching it, but it's bouncing from it at that point. And to buy there with a stop below that pullback low, and that pullback low was 253, meaning you would buy it at 250, 265 with your stop. I like to go 2 pennies below that low. So to buy it with a stop of 251 and, turned out to be a great risk reward play.
Yeah, that is awesome. And you know what? Now that you're mentioning that, a lot of these bounce plays, I'll do exactly what you just said. I will end up buying it right when it tests it. But perhaps the better move here is maybe waiting for it to curl away from it, give you that additional signal that, hey, we are going to bounce. We're not just going to test here. I might try to do that. And I really like that stop. You guys have seen me set up stops very, very similar to this. I like that 2 pennies beneath. I can't tell you how many times I've literally put my stop right beneath the low or right beneath that level, and it gets flushed and bounces from there. So I might try that 2 penny strategy there and see if that's any better.
It's held me in an unbelievable amount of times. Just that 1 extra penny. It's crazy how many times it's kept me in a trade.
Okay. That is going to definitely be something to try here. Awesome that we were able to trade this one live, or we were able to look at the setup here live. This actually looks like this might be trying again right here. Maybe just a little bit of a head fake there. For me, when I'm looking at these plays here, generally speaking, volume is going to tell the story. When volume continues to expand, or when we get these candles that look like this, that's pretty good risk on for a long. On the backside of that move, the volume's kind of compressing. You're seeing the price come in with that as well.
Yep.
I just took profit on that pop too.
Excellent job. Be sure to take the gains when you have them. 13, giving you an update on the SPY. SPY buyers came in just above 540.30 to keep it from falling into that gap. I'll bring up the SPY chart here real quick and let me know if you folks see anything else.
Hey guys, if it's all right, I'm going to hop off here. I've got some responsibilities at this time I have to do. So thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely, Brian. We can't thank you enough for joining. Happy to have you on and look forward to doing it in the future. Thanks for giving away some books here today. Thanks for helping spread knowledge to our great community.
You bet. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Really great to see you, Brian.
You too. Bye.
All right. Take care. That is Brian Shannon. I'll tell you what, Andy, I got to say thank you Thank you for arranging that. You and Alyssa, absolutely awesome. Chat, smash up the like for Brian. Remember, Alpha Trends on X, Alpha Trends on YouTube. Be sure to check out his content. Absolutely awesome. Sharing his time and his expertise here with our group. Giddy up. That's how we're going to start a Thursday off. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. And shout out
That's
to
a great
Trade
Thursday.
Pool.
Yeah, trade the pool, Ryan. I was just gonna say that's so awesome that they came in here and just made it even better.
See, this is one of the reasons why I'm so big on this type of stuff. When you are kind to others, that shit is addicting. And if other people see you being kind, it's like that feedback loop where maybe they're kind. That's exactly what happened here. You guys arranged this. You're giving away a book. Gil shows up, realizes there's all these happy feels going on. Now he starts giving stuff away. Now we've started today off with an amazing start. So I love stuff like that. Impromptu stuff like that is the way. Alyssa, shout out to you, doing a great job on the ones and twos, if you will, in the back there, getting all those giveaways. I can't thank you enough for staying on top of that.
It's a good time.
It's a good time.
I mean, where else do we get to have fun like this and we get to trade and make money at the same time? Hopefully make money, right?
I've had a lot of jobs over the course of my life. None of them have been as rewarding or fulfilling as this one. The other thing that's really kind of key here is that this job has kind of opened my eyes to another class of people, if you will, those that are willing to help others, and those that are willing to share knowledge and share experiences and raise the tide for everybody around them. I don't know, that's why we do stuff like this. I absolutely love it.
I have to ask you though, Ryan, how and when can we get Jason and or Luke on this show?
Well, see, here's the thing. That's a really good question, Andy. Here's the thing about Jason and Luke. They like to fly by the seat of their pants. Brian just talked about having to get back to his responsibilities. We all have responsibilities. It seems that Luke and Jason have an inordinate amount of responsibilities. So we've actually had Jason and Luke join kind of impromptu. I would say this, a little bit of an inside tip here. Luke seems to love the impromptu join when I'm at the office, right? I'll be in there. I'll be just focused on everything. And he just comes into the studio and all of a sudden Luke's on the stream. So I'll try and get them out there. I'll tell them that they had multiple requests. If the chat maybe wants to, send some messages here saying, hey, bring Luke or Jason on, then I'll have something to screenshot and send to them. Just saying.
Wink,
all right, so
wink,
hit the chat right now. Bring Jason and Luke on. Just flood the chat. Just like the number ones, we need to bring Jason and Luke on.
Oh, this is a really good day, folks. This is a really good day. And Jay Rice, I can't even believe we haven't talked about it, but the golf that's on the U.S. Open started today. Tiger's
Ryan,
yeah.
I have three things.
Lay them on us.
Throw up a chart of Uber and T-Mobile, TMUS. We are just getting reports that Uber Advertising announces an exclusive partnership with T-Mobile Advertising Solutions. Uber's Journey TV advertising service will expand to over 50,000 screens, inviting advertisers to join in on the ride. This was just announced with the Business Wire dropping this. They say as part of the partnership, T-Mobile screens will display Uber's Journey TV rider experience when an Uber trip is underway. Journey TV shows a live trip map with ETA until drop-off, personalized recommendations on restaurants near the trip destination, travel inspiration ideas, and local activities to enjoy, as well as highly relevant video, interactive, and other ads driven by Uber's first-party data insights. That's the first one. Do you have a comment?
Well, the only thing that I'm noticing, that sounds good. The only thing that I'm noticing here, T-Mobile relatively flat, Uber having a less than desirable day. Uber's still at the low. So it does not appear that those stocks are reacting to this news yet, at least not positively. But that's about all I had so far. Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, the second one is we got some Supreme Court decisions in the 10 a.m. hour as we had Brian on. And the first one is if you could throw up a ticker of PRGO, that is the Perrigo company.
Yep.
Bloomberg has this headlines, but it's actually from the Supreme Court. Supreme Court actually upholds unrestricted access to the mifepristone abortion pill. So just watch PRGO, the abortion pill that was announced from the Supreme Court moments ago around 10 a.m.
Okay, and now these Perigo here intraday definitely seems volatile. Also seeing in the news feed here, Piper Sandler maintaining their overweight rating on Perigo, lowering the price target though to 36. Perigo down about 1.5% here, but is volatile. Or was volatile early this morning. Perigo also very, very close to a possible triple bottom. Looks like it's made a double bottom here, about 26.25. But maybe we retest that here if it keeps moving down. Good mention there. You got anything else, Nick?
Yes, and if you could throw up a chart of Starbucks, we also got reports that U.S. Supreme Court rules in favor of Starbucks in case involving a fired Memphis workers who sought to join the union.
Okay, say that one more time. I'm sorry.
The Supreme Court is ruling in favor of Starbucks in case involving fired Memphis workers who sought to join the union.
Okay. So they're siding with the workers that wanted the union. Okay.
No, they're in favor of Starbucks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, then, I had you read it twice and couldn't even get it right. Thankfully, you're here. What do you think that means for the stock? What do you think that means for the stock going forward?
You know, we've seen the pro-union Starbucks on X, and they have been very vocal on what they want in terms of what's going on. And we've known Starbucks have cut workers. We've gotten reports that the other day that they are now joining the club to actually cut prices on items. It just seems that this whole story regarding the China revenues, America revenues, wait times are up. There's a lot to consider here, and I'm not sure that letting employees go and firing employees or want to join the union is the correct decision. So we're just going to have to see how it plays out for the earnings, for the company, and for the stock overall.
Look, yeah, I think that's a really good synopsis there, Nick. And I'm someone that's not necessarily in favor of unions, but I think in this specific case, I think you hit the nail right on the head there. Honestly, one more thing to kind of keep in mind with the stock before we move on here, 50-day moving average at 81.30, current price at 80.05. So we're about $1.25 away from that 50-day moving average. You can see here on the daily chart that has really been resistance. If we're able to recapture this and get a close above this 50-day on the daily chart, I think we have a gap fill up here towards 87.5. We also have the 100-day right there at 87. So look for a potential long side trade here if we can get above that 50-day and perhaps close above it. Good stuff there with that news, Nick. Did you have anything else?
Yes, we also got reports from CNBC, and a company called Ford is actually ending their EV dealership program that required hefty investment to sell electric models. CNBC does go on to report that saying that Ford Motor is ending a controversial electric vehicle dealership that initially asked store owners to invest upward of $1 million to sell EVs. Back in September of 2022, the EV certified program was announced by Ford CEO Jim Farley in response to high demand for vehicles. Amid slower than expected demand, Ford will open EV sales to all of its dealers. And then we got reports Stellantis, ticker STLA, they are planning to grow Jeep sales 50% by 2027. They're expected to grow Jeep sales of Jeep vehicles to roughly 1.5 million units globally by 27. It plans to expand its vehicle nameplates from 10 to 13 by 2027. That's according to Jeep CEO Antonio Faloona. He said Thursday during Stellantis' Investor Day at its North America headquarters. Jeep is expected to roll out the recently revealed Wagoneer SUV later this year, followed by a Jeep Wrangler-inspired off-road vehicle called the Recon.
Okay. Real good stuff there, Nick. Appreciate that. Stellantis here, this looks like this is actually moving lower. I'm worried about Stellantis kind of breaking this area, maybe going towards a 20 handle. Daily does not look great. Ford, on the other hand, here, right on its 200-day. I want to see if we can get, now that we're testing it, I'd like to see if we can get a close, maybe 2 or 3 closes above that 200-day. Feel pretty good about a Ford swing here. Also, a quick note, one of the gentlemen from our happy hour said that one of the most profitable strategies he's been using recently are buying a bunch of stock on stocks like Ford and then selling upside calls against that in order to pay yourself. So something to keep in mind. Okay, folks, This is awesome stuff. We're actually 3 minutes late. It's entirely my fault, but it's okay because we had a jam-packed show here today. We crammed more stuff into it than I thought was possible. Nick, you did an amazing job from the start. Andy, I'm still kind of speechless for what you were able to put together here. First of all, I can't thank you enough for filling in here while 13 is enjoying himself and getting his beauty vacation, but also really impressed with what you were able to do in terms of getting Brian on here. Brian, definitely a friend of Benzinga. Awesome stuff. The giveaways, super fun. You guys, this is what we do here. And also, big shouts to Alyssa in the back, who's really kind of helping us run today's stream from start to finish. Alyssa, you got the new dig there. Your dad hasn't even been invited over to your new house, and you're just out here dropping stuff on us. It's absolutely amazing. So thanks, everybody. We are late. We're going to get going. We're going to be back at this tomorrow. Providing Boeing doesn't let us down, 13 will be back with us tomorrow as well. Stay green. You guys want to say anything to the group here?
See you guys later. And just be sure to let me know if I should shave the stash or keep growing it. Just putting that out there.
Andy, if you've had a good week, I think you should keep doing what's been working. Nick, how about you? Any parting words for the group?
Have a great day. Tomorrow's Friday.
Yes, sir. Alyssa?
Follow Benzinga on Twitter at Benzinga or X.
I absolutely love it. Alyssa, always looking out for the brand. That's exactly what we want, folks. Really, really good stuff here today. You were able to take a relatively slow day and turn it into an amazing educational fest. We can't thank you enough. Alyssa, Nick, and Andy, have a great one. We'll see you tomorrow. I didn't mean, I'm sorry, Alyssa. That was a little bit of an early. I know. I wanted people to see the wave. All right, folks, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.